This is the new Samsung Galaxy View. Call it a tablet, you're not exactly correct. Samsung thinks of it as more of a TV replacement sort of a thing. It does blur the line between a tablet and a television in very interesting ways. And even though it's easy to make jokes about it, they might actually be onto something. So let's take a closer look. All right, so let's start with the basics. The Galaxy View has an 18.4-inch screen running at 1080p. That might seem a little low for a screen of this size, and you're not entirely wrong. You can indeed make out a few individual pixels if you look close enough at the screen. But the way Samsung looks at it, most of the content out there is in 1080p high def, and streaming is really what the Galaxy View is all about. Samsung sort of wanted to try to divorce the television from the cable packages and all the wires that come with it. So what we're left with is a tablet that acts like a television and only streams content. Samsung argues that this is meant more for younger people, millennials, snake people, whatever you want to call them, who've basically given up on traditional cable packages. They just want to get their video online, or they want to pay per channel. The screen itself is actually bright and really nicely saturated. There's a 1.6 gigahertz octa-core processor running inside, along with 2 gigabytes of RAM. This is a 32 gigabyte model, which you can expand. There is a tiny expandable memory port under the flap here, but this really isn't meant to be a full-on storage kind of device. Samsung very strongly suggests that this is meant for consuming streaming content. Beyond just watching video, this is in fact a full-blown Android tablet, so you can jump into the Google Play Store and start downloading apps to muck around with. I've loaded a few games on here, and so far that octa-core chipset and the 2 gigabytes of RAM seems to be doing a pretty good job keeping up with me. You can also hook up Bluetooth controllers to this, so in effect you've got an Android set-top box like the NVIDIA Shield or the Nexus Player sort of combined with a tablet itself. And the end result is surprisingly potent. Obviously, this thing wasn't meant to stay in one place. If it was, Samsung would have just made an Android TV, but they didn't, and we've got a pretty interesting setup here. So this is the Galaxy View in its stand mode. If you do want to take it around, give it to the kids, move it to the bathroom or the kitchen, which are use cases that have been suggested to us, you just sort of pop this open. We do have a briefcase style grip here. It's about 5 pounds, not terribly heavy, but you will feel it after a while. Now, while that grip is out, you can also just lay the tablet down on a table or your lap, for example, and get a nice bit of an angle here so you can continue to watch your content without having to bend and hunch over. But that's enough sitting here and talking about the Galaxy View. Let's go out and use it. We've got a couple locations that we're gonna try this thing out, and we'll see how it does. So yes, at the end of the day, the Galaxy View might still seem like a weird idea, but I don't think Samsung is completely off base. Obviously, this is not for everybody, but I can imagine quite a few people whose lifestyles this thing would fit really nicely into.